And as I said earlier, for some of you who just came in, think of this as a involution. The first pose now is sitting, and it might take a few poses to move toward where the mind and the body and the breath are merged. But know that. And some days it's easier, this involution process, than others. And it's always interesting because it's never the same. So take time to adjust yourself to feel the earth element. If you're seated, you can feel the feet touching the floor. You can feel the buttock bones on the floor. Feel the weight of your body sitting. Feeling the weight of the body sitting. So we spend this first minute to bring the attention to finding this present moment. And you can do it through various techniques. I was just listening to a wonderful meditation teacher named Orange A. Sofer. He's doing a class on communication. He does it every year. So you can think about finding the earth element, be it the feet or the buttock bones, and feeling the gravitational pull, right? Seat getting heavier and heavy. The way of grounding yourself to be in the present moment. Rather quickly. Or you can find the median line of your body, which we know as the spine. Bring your attention as though we're calling out to the central vertebral column known as the spine. If you find that bringing the attention narrow in on the spine causes your brain to harden, then come back to feeling the weight of yourself sitting. The other technique, feel the breath, breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Feeling the breath in the nostrils, perhaps at the back of the throat, even as a vibration in the lips. And then lastly, you can use what we call the touchstones of the posture. The hands pressing into the roots of the thighs. The feet pressing down into the floor, the sides of the feet. And now spend this last minute or so choosing one, probably the one that's most easeful for you, and make that mark, the sign that it's easeful, is that you're not struggling to do it. So be it the gravitational pull, sensation that the body is sitting, the weight of the pelvis on the floor, on the chair, the median line of the body, spine, the breath, in breath, out breath, or the touchstones of the pose that you're sitting in. Body bones, hands on the roots of the thighs, or perhaps if you have long arms, the hands on blocks per se, or the feet, soles of the feet, the sides of the feet in contact with the earth. So all this is really in service of cultivating the quality of presence. And then if you'd like, you can fold your palms, you can repeat your own personal vow or ours. May I be a boat, a raft, a bridge for all beings to cross the flood. May I be a resting place for the weary. May I be medicine for all who are sick. May I be a lamp in the darkness for those who are lost. And may I do so as long as earth and sky and galaxies exist, until all beings are enlightened. I vow to be here to serve them all. And when you're ready, if your hands in front of the chest, you can place the hands on the thighs, gently, eyes to open. And we're going to stretch out your legs. So as I said, we have the setup, as you can see at the wall, for Viparita Karani. if you have a foam block or a cork block, if in one of the leg positions, which is Baddha Konasana, you can put the block in as just a way to vary it up. Okay, so legs elevated. If anyone has, if this bothers anyone's back, you can do it with the legs. Hi, Suki, Kiko, who else worked in Julia, Lindsay, Elaine, Janet. Nice to see you all. So remember, this is the, we've done this a lot. See if you can get your pelvis to sink into the well. So the setup in, and I can't tell clearly on some of the setups if your head is to me, and that's fine. But we've done this often enough, so hopefully you might need, most people I would say need a bolster, standard size bolster, and a blanket tri-folded. And if you don't have the Winnie, you can try it if it's enough height. And then Betsy, since if you swung your legs at the wall, hold the sides of the bolster and see if you can get the legs hip width apart to cover the wall. Yeah, Peggy, be careful. And then have the feet hip width apart so the diaphragm can spread. No iteration of Viparita Karani exists where the legs are together, because one of the purposes in Viparita Karani is to feel the 3 diaphragms. Right? There's the actual respiratory diaphragm, the pelvic diaphragm, the chest diaphragm. So if you've created just the right setup, you will see that the 3 diaphragms are on their respective planes. The pelvic diaphragm belongs to the pelvis. The diaphragm itself, respiratory diaphragm, belongs to the slightly above that, and then the chest diaphragm. Have the feet hip width apart. That looks good. Okay. Remember, and if you can get, this is a little more nuanced, but because the legs are in a forward bend and the trunk is in a back bend, see if you can get your pubic bone to be slightly below your navel. And then you have that sort of anterior tilt of the legs in a forward bend position. It's challenging to get it if you only practice it once in a great while, but we've been trying to do this a lot. Okay, and then the arms, Peggy, just, out to the side and just relaxing. Hi, Lana. So let's use Viparita Karani, not to go asleep, but to rather use this in terms of the sequence as a platform for this sequence, which is side lateral poses. So I want you to take your hands to the side walls of the chest. And I want you to focus on, the very side, where the rib cage expands on the inhalation. Sense that those intercostal muscles, as you breathe in, they're expanding, but allow yourself to feel the skin and then the muscles softening into your hands. So softening that area, because the muscles have to relax in order for the muscles to turn as we do poses like Trikonasana, Chitta Parshvakonasana, Pavrita Janu Shirshasana. If you know these poses as I call them out, you'll kind of can do them in your mind's eye and get that feeling of the muscles and the skin relaxed. In addition, sense those 3 diaphragms, each on its own respective level. So if you could have like a magic marker and you're dividing your pelvis and chest trunk area, which I think of the trunk as being that whole area, into 3 distinct parts, and each is on its own level. That's the characteristic of Viparita Karani. It's a formidable pose because of the shape. The legs are in a forward bend, the trunk is in a back bend, the shoulder blades belong to the back. You might find, some of you, that the shoulders have now just settled on the floor, and it can take some time. The other thing to do is, if someone was in the room, or you could do it yourself, if you had a sandbag, and if you were a sandbag nearby and you had the feet on the wall and you put the sandbag on and then scrub the heels up at the wall, then you'd have the weight of the sandbag on the legs, feeling that femur bone sucking back into the hip socket. So I'm just saying this because you might want to do this tomorrow, and you might get a sandbag or a bag of rice and put it on your legs. Now, take the legs apart. This is second position, not too far apart, not too far. Go with ease. No strain on the inner knees, no strain on the hamstrings, no strain on your inner groins. That's it. Janet, maybe a smidge wider. Winnie, maybe a smidge wider. This is good. So this is the second leg position, more like Upavishta Konasana, but I wouldn't say it's Upavishta Konasana. It's not as wide as even the first one that we'll do. Do adjust the inner heels so they're running parallel. Spread the toes without hardening the toes. Again, bring your attention to the 3 diaphragms again, and also the softening of the skin and the armpit chest. That's it, Peggy, and the muscles. And then in addition to those 2 aspects, the diaphragms on their respective planes, in addition to softening the skin and the muscle, reflect on giving yourself time for integration of the pose. You know, we usually come to the practice, as you can probably are aware of, we sit and the body is likely to be somewhere else. You know, we bring our fragmented self with it. So use these first 3 poses, as I alluded to, although it certainly may take more, as a way of integration versus fragmentation. And now Baddha Konasana, drop the heels into the perineum. Those who can bring the heels in as close as you can. Those of you who have the egg foam block or foam block or even a cork block, a wood block can work. It just might scratch your wall and drop onto your perineum. If you want to drop the block on the narrow side, I would do the narrow side though, not the widest side. Now put your hands on the inner thighs, and that's it. And then move the inner thighs away from each other, groins on their respective levels as well, like Supta 2. And see if you can increase the distance between the sides of the pubic bone and your inner thighs. So use that and use this position, this third, for something physical, but also observe the diaphragm spreading in this position. When I mean the diaphragm, I mean the actual respiratory diaphragm. Because I would say of all the positions, this is most conducive to relaxing the diaphragm. So if you think of the diaphragm like a circle, it might feel more like a rectangle. So, you know, that's how I would look at it. You can drop the heels in, some of you a little closer as I'm moving along. Continue to move the inner groins away from each other. And then because the knees have been in flexion, stretch the legs up back to that first position, hip width apart, or extension of the knee. Now take the arms overhead to get extension of the side ribs, arms facing each other. So no knees, no elbows. Peggy, be careful. Yeah. And if that doesn't work, just the arms in line with the shoulders. Okay, now take the arms down, cross the legs. It doesn't matter which, you'll change the cross, swastikasana. At the shins ideally, versus the ankle. That's it. Knees moving toward the wall in that action. And again, the mind can wander from the task at hand, which is integration. If your mind has gone off to something else, just simply bring it back. Just remember to come back. Remember to come back to this present moment. Change the cross. Now in a moment, we're going to add a leg position that we don't typically do, because the next one would be moving toward the exit where the roots of the thighs are on the backs of the bolster. But I'm going to have you now in your second cross in about 30 seconds, having spent an equal amount of time, you'll stretch your legs up and then go in and out with alacrity in half Padmasana, okay? So you'll put the hand, you'll stretch up the legs, and then put the right hand in the pit of the right knee, turn the inner thigh, and aim the right foot to the left groin. And then go in and out. That's it, Luma. In and out, just like that. If you need to push yourself closer to the wall, do so. So go in and out. I would say about 5 times to the right. That's it, Gail. See if you can hold the right foot for the left hand underneath and vice versa. So you're just doing it with ease. That's it, Janet. And yes, leave your hand there till the knee comes back. So as the foot comes into the groin, the knee moves toward the wall. Go in and out like that. Moving toward Ardha Padmasana, eventually toward Padmasana. Then when you've done about 5 on the right, 5 on the left, move to the exit, which is just bend the legs, place the feet on the wall, and then scoot so your pelvis, or you can do it from swastikasana, so your pelvis is coming off the bolster, and place the roots of the thighs on the back of the bolster in basically a supine swastikasana with the knees up. So it's not quite matsyasana, right? In swastikasana legs, supine, supta swastikasana, because the roots of the thighs support it. That's it. Good. So after you finish the Ardha Padmasana, you're just resting your legs on the bolster. Janet, we're just coming out, so the pelvis is on the mat, and the roots of the thighs are supported up on the bolster. And then one more time, stretch the arms overhead to ignite the side ribs. And then you change the cross and keep the arms overhead. Okay. All right, so now to come out, take the knees into the chest, Vipada, flex the feet, open the back heel, slowly roll to your side. Let's take Dandasana for the knees, just hip width apart, so you can, as we explored when we did our body wisdom classes on opening the backs of the knees, how much more the backs of the legs open when the feet are hip width apart. If you have, we're not doing a calf stretch today, we did it on Tuesday, you can bifurcate the calves if your calves are very bulky or muscular, and just sit upright. So remember the metrics of Dandasana. The characteristics of Dandasana is such that the legs are straight, they belong to the floor, the chest is upright, not forward, and don't let the buttocks roll underneath you. Dandasana. You can be at the wall also. Adjust the feet so you're really opening that back heel hinge. And just like you did a moment ago, spread the feet. And then you can put your thumb and index finger right above the knee and press it down. So the backs of the knees, and we worked on this past Tuesday and last Tuesday. Those were the lessons on the body wisdom, and they're on the website if you want to repeat it. Okay, now take the right leg out to the side, take the left leg out to the side, Upavishta Konasana. A little bit wider for the legs than when you were at the wall. And again, the metrics is such that the trunk is upright. Be on that back heel, feet are flexed. Adjust the pose from the feet. And then press the roots of the thighs down. So sometimes it's nice, and we can use this later in the sequence, to actually place the palm of your hand on the root of the thigh and press it down. Okay, now keep the thighs. Now just be mindful of don't have the shoulders in line with the hips. Now reach up through your arms. Peggy, you can just keep the hands on the roots of the thighs, or Peggy beside the hips. All right. The other possibility, Peggy, is just this way in this mat, if that's possible. So either here or pronated on the roots of the thighs. Everyone else, stretch the arms up, and then find out in taking the arms up, are the elbows bent? Betsy, it looks like you're like sucking the inner elbows, outer elbows to inner elbows, and then reach through the fingertips as you seal the legs down. Not so easy to stay in Upavishta Konasana with the arms up. Yokiko, make sure there's no pain in the inner knees. Your legs are wide, and that's fine. Just make sure there's no sensation in the inner knee ligaments. Julia, good. Okay, now take the arms down. All right, now we're going to do, you're going to take your right leg into Baddha Konasana. So remember, we'll do Ardha Siddhasana because Lana, you reminded me when you did it on Tuesday, the sole of the foot is facing the opposite wall. So this one, when you do one-legged in Baddha Konasana, one-legged in Upavishta Konasana, this helps many of you do eventually Baddha Konasana. So let's do that. One-legged Baddha Konasana, one-legged Upavishta Konasana. Sole of the foot. So remember, you're not on the top of the foot. That's the Ardha Siddhasana. Sole of the foot, right foot is facing to the left. And then be upright. Again, adjust the left foot so it's perpendicular. All right, change sides. Left leg. Again, you can, as you come into it, it's always wise to place the left hand in the pit of the knee, turn the thigh like you did in Viparita Karani, and then take the other leg out to the side. Again, no strain in the inner knee ligaments. This is about the inner thighs. And then lift up. So this is Baddha Konasana, one leg, Upavishta Konasana, other leg in service of doing Baddha Konasana with the knees down. All right, now we are going to do Baddha Konasana. Some of you, Suki, you can do it at the wall on the narrow blanket, all right? Or you can do it freestanding, as I'm doing now. Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together. Remember in this one, the buttocks they're not going to roll underneath me, right? The top of the sacrum is moving in and up. All right, so when you're ready, Baddha Konasana. If you need the wall, take it. Nancy, you can do it at the wall or just repeat Baddha Konasana, Upavishta Konasana. See that the trunk is not pitching forward, especially those of you who have long arms. Janet, that's good, yeah. Start with the feet together though, then insert the mat. It's fine to insert the block, I have no problem with that, but start with that and then the block. Okay, widen the thighs away. How good it's good to have the rope wall because the back enjoys the support. Again, make sure your pelvis is not rolling under. Now, one of the metrics you can say to this, it seems, yes, we are stretching our inner thighs, but the pelvis should be buoyant. It shouldn't be sinking down to the floor. There should be a lightness in the pelvis, a lightness in the trunk without any hardness in the throat. So sometimes, as we, what one always says, we don't pay attention when things come easily to ourselves. So if your inner thighs are easily stretched, you might find your mind drifting, but pay attention now. Are you sinking your diaphragm down? Again, lift up and sense of buoyancy in the pelvis. I mean, these are just ways and means so that you move toward integration versus fragmentation. Okay, now everyone stretch out their legs. And now we're doing, Lana, what you did the other day, Ardha Siddhasana. So this is one where it's the top of your foot, right? So watch, I put the hand in the pit of the knee. I hold the foot from underneath and the whole metatarsal will belong to the floor. And what I want you to do is really focus on doing this because you're elongating your shin when you do this. So you have to turn the foot, as you can see me doing, turning the calf flesh. And then I'm elongating the shin when I do it that way. Okay, do go in and out in Ardha Siddhasana in that same way. So you're using a fine articulation of your hands, turning the foot, turning the calf flesh, and aiming the metatarsal. So you can see the knee is much further out. It's a much wider geometry than Sukhasana, the final pose, and go in and out. Go in and out, lubricating the inner thighs and those outer hips. Ardha Siddhasana. Keep the knee down on the floor, Nancy, that's good. You might have to lean in like you would do in Padmasana, leaning to the left as you bring the left foot in, leaning to the right as you bring the right foot in. Come in and out. We're just doing Suki, that's good. So the heel is in line with the perineum. Such a nice pose for the hips. Okay, now just come back to Sukhasana And just observe how much more the thighs are parallel to each other. In Siddhasana, the knees were much further out. Okay? All right, now everyone take a strap. If you have a wall nearby, we're going to do just Supta 1 and Supta 2 at the wall. If you don't have a wall, certainly don't worry about it. Have a belt. So Peggy, as I said earlier, you know, all of this is fine so far. Okay, for you to do. All right, start with the legs bent. It's the very best way. Be about 12 to 14 inches away from the wall. Then extend one leg and then the other. Push into the wall. So use the wall to open up the back heel hinge. Okay, now do Ekapada a few times. Right knee in, left knee in, right knee in, left knee in to warm up the hamstrings. Of course, we did some work on the hips. So Ekapada. With each consecutive Ekapada, aim to deflate the abdomen so that the leg comes closer to the chest. Yes. Such a good pose. Also aim to get the left thigh when the right knee is close to the chest, down. A few times in that manner. All right, and then when you're ready, right knee in, open up the heel hinge, and then take the belt in any configuration of your choice, in any place of your choice, be it the ball, the sole of the foot, the back heel. Start at 90. Start at 90, get that front to back action like you just did in Dandasana. Imagine the leg. We worked with this last week in the leg stretches class. So this was an example of an asymmetrical pose that did not have that's it, Peggy, a closed chain. So pull the toes down, heel up, toes down, heel up to open the back of the calf, front to back as well. And now begin to move the leg against the resistance of the elbows moving down to the floor. That's it. Move the leg, move the leg. Keep the leg straight. Don't let the right side of the waist shorten. Move the leg against the resistance of the elbows pulling down. Remember in the abdominal class, I asked you to feel the breath, inhaling and exhaling, and you move the leg on the inhalation against the resistance of the abdomen. Good, Betsy, moving back. Legs are straight. Janet, that's it. Move the leg. Move the leg. Any amount. Heel up, toes down. Additionally, front to back action of the root of the thigh into the posterior right hamstring so that the back of the thigh opens. These look good. Penetrate your consciousness. Don't let yourself become fragmented. If you are starting to think about other things, remember to come back to the task at hand. This momentary awareness. This moment matters. Okay, and change sides. Ekapada, you can do Dvipada and then Ekapada left side. Knees in, because it's nice to actually, the reason for doing Dvipada is after asymmetrical poses, it's nice to do symmetrical poses. So if you're doing Dvipada, that can feel good on the sacrum in your low back, and then Ekapada left knee in. Wait there, again, deflate the abdomen against the resistance of the abdomen moving back. And then take the strap across the same place. Tomorrow you can do a different place. Keep the legs straight. So metrics of 90, start at 90, get the metrics of the pose, which is the pelvis is balanced, which is much easier than Supta 1 and 2. Side ribs even, left hip pinning in. And now begin to move the leg against the resistance, good, of the elbows moving toward the floor. Be interested in which side feels differently, how and why. Be interested in what part of your left leg isn't opening. At the back of the heel, at the calf, at the back of the knee, is it the back of the hamstring? Yeah, that's good. Move the leg, left hip in. I say pull, you're pulling the strap down, but let there be no tension in the fingers. Let there be no tension in the fingers. And now, Betsy, really good in terms of the movement. Now just press the right thigh down. Right thigh down. You can hold the strap with the left hand and use your right hand on the boot of the right thigh to press it down. Extend through the heel. Make a note, how are the two sides different? Make a note. Oftentimes, it's not unusual to do that. Say this side was a little bit less movable, less pliable. You could do this for another, perhaps stay a little longer or repeat it on a third round. Okay, now take the leg back to Ekapada, take Dvipada for symmetry. All right. Now, we're using Supta 2 today in a very, very special way. I mean, it's a very special pose because it's a very spacious, vast pose. So it's wonderful psychologically, physiologically. But I want you to assess that the groins are on two respective planes, right belonging to the right, left belonging to the left, and not commingling. So with that said, go back to Supta 1 on the right side, take the leg up. Just tonight. Hold the strap with your right hand. Extend the left arm out aligned with the shoulder. All right, now decentralize your left leg about 3 inches. Not too much, but not too little. Let's just say 3 inches. That's it, Wendy. All right, now extending through your left arm, because that will help you not go to the right as you now take the right leg out to the right, turn your abdomen from the right to the left. So we've decentralized the left leg so that the pelvis is more balanced and that the two groins don't collide. So we want the right groin belonging to the right side, the left groin belonging to the left side, and there's no commingling of the groins. Let's see, Janet, this is really good. It's good that you don't have to bend that right leg. If you have the foot, Julia, at the wall, that's fine. No problem. You'll just feel the skin. It articulates that femur bone presence of the right femur bone. Observe how the left groin, right, is on its own level and the right. The left groin is not moving to the right. They're clearly distinct. And of course, using the left arm and decentralizing the left leg helps in that. And now close your eyes and feel the vastness and the spaciousness that this pose has to offer when you get the geometry absolutely as such, when the groins don't commingle. There's tremendous vastness and spaciousness in the body. And when there's vastness and spaciousness in the body, the breath flows easily and the mind can relax. Hence the beauty of this pose. Okay, take the leg up and same thing, same side. So start at 90, pause, hold the strap with the left hand, extend your right arm out, reach, and then double action, triple action. As you reach through the right arm, turn the belly left to right as you take the left leg out. Decentralize that leg. Right leg moves out about 3 inches. Julia, that's good. Of course, that in itself gives this spaciousness in the pelvis. Spaciousness in the abdomen, in the chest, and in the mind. So all these geometries are conducive to something happening in the mind. Groins remain on their respective planes. That left groin is not commingling with the right. If it helps, you can put your right hand on the right groin, opening it up side to side, top to bottom. That's good. Marina, just adjust, my beautiful friend, with your left foot. See that the foot is parallel to the floor. Yeah. So it's common that the heel is up and toes down, but actually just pointing that out, Marina, because that will close that left groin. So run that foot parallel. Good. That's it, Marina. All right, now take the leg up, come back to symmetrical Dvipada. So we're going to, before we stand, we're going to do one more thing supine, but it's really as a preparation toward the end of class. And give you the heads up now, we're going toward an arm balance called Ekahasta. So Peggy, because it is an arm balance, you're clearly not going to do this, but I'm saying this for everyone, not just Peggy, so that if doing Ekahasta Bhujasana is not possible from the floor up or with the foot perhaps on the chair, Rahel, like you do it, you can do what I'm just going to show now. So watch. So I would actually start with legs bent, and then I'll keep this left leg bent. I'm taking kind of an Ekapada action, and I'm using again, that principle of inhaling against the resistance of the abdomen moving back. And then my knee is underneath my foot. The shin is perpendicular to the floor. And main thing, well, another thing, is don't have the leg turned out. There's an adjacency here between the right side of my rib cage and my inner right thigh. So if I put my hand here, there's no space. And then you can take your hand to the outer edge of your right foot. I have long arms. If you don't, maybe the inner edge of the right foot, and pump, pump, pump. Sense that you're injecting the knee into the armpit. So we don't want the shin to become at a diagonal. It's perpendicular. Pump, pump, pump. Maintain so that you have, as Patricia would say, you want to fill in the gap. There's no space between the side ribs and your inner thigh. We'll do a few rounds like that, right side, left side. Wonderful for the hips. And I suspect because the hips are generally different, as we observe in Supta Padangusthasana 4, the two sides will be different. Okay, Peggy, I think this is fine to do. Just you're not, not weight bearing, and you don't even have to use your arm. Pump, pump, pump. Keep the shin perpendicular. Sense the knee. Nancy, I would, you'll get the knee closer to the armpit if you bend the other leg. I have no problem with extending the other leg. It's a little bit harder. You'll see if you keep the left leg bent and pump. Good, Betsy. Aim together. That's really good. Aim well to the floor. Remember, don't let the leg wander off to the side. Janet, yeah, don't let the leg wander off to the side. Find out in taking the knee good into the armpit, Gail. Don't let the knee go out to the side. Change sides when you're ready. That's it. Pump, pump, pump. Suki, I thought you used to call this happy baby or something. Ekapada happy baby, right? Those of you are finding it, thanks. Those of you are finding it easy, do indeed extend your right leg as you pump the left. It's easy peasy, extend. Janet, you might find it. I would start with the right leg bend as you're doing the left leg, guys, and then your pump, pump, pump. And then if that's useful, extend the right leg. We haven't done this in some time. Again, that's it, Val. You can have your right hand right at the side rib so that the leg doesn't splay out. And you can do it that way, Sue, too. Pump, pump, pump. All right, so everyone's doing a good job. Let's try this. You're gonna, as I said, you're gonna slide, like thread your right arm through to your outer edge of the right foot and pump, 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 pump. You're just taking the right arm, same leg, thread it through. A little bit easier if you have long arms. If you need to take a strap, that's always a possibility of making your arms longer. Lubna, see if you can get the shin perpendicular. So it's kind of swaying back, my friend. Yes, that's it. Because of that's how it is in Ekapada. Those of you who know this pose, the arm balance, can really see how this is preparation. Good, Julia, for Ekapada. Another side when you're ready. Good. Pump, pump, pump. These look good. Lindsay, that's it. Pump, pump, pump. You can visualize yourself taking your left leg in this case, and that leg would be on your upper arm. Those of you know the pose, I suspect you could be doing it in your mind's eye. Okay. Now, after you've done supine ekapada, let's do Upavishta Konasana, going a little bit wider than the first one. So the way to go wider, as you all know, is to lift the pelvis. I shouldn't say the way, but a way to go wider is lifting the pelvis up and inching forward. See if you can broaden now, not only, as I said, I use this language, increase the distance between the sides of the pubic bone and your inner thighs. Now I want you to make your pubic plate very wide. So focus on this area, your pubic plate. Betsy, that's good. Now you'll keep going. Yes, you can go wide now. All right. And scrub your heels away. Chest is upright. Marina, just wide. Yeah. Bring the shoulders back. Yeah, that's it. Shoulders in line over the hips. Seal the legs to the floor. Now focus 99% of your attention on the legs covering the floor. And now raise the arms up. Peggy, not for you. Just keep the hands on the floor. We're using this wider Upavishta Konasana for Uttita Trikonasana so that the spine can elongate. All right, now take the legs together. All right, and we're going to stand and get ready for Uttita Trikonasana. Those of you who, the last time we did this, or maybe the time before, some of you told me that reaching out for a chair was very helpful in elongating your spine. If you have a chair nearby, you can use that. All right, so one of the things I want to do with Trikonasana, you know, and this is the thing that I really most love about yoga, is that we do these poses, the same poses over and over again, but we don't have to do the same pose in the same way. So I want to incline your mind now back to the feeling of the intercostal muscles softening, the diaphragm spreading in Viparita Karani. And I want you to have that memory of the muscles in that position as we now do Uttita Trikonasana. So this kind of transcends the shape, all right? All right, so let's stand in Samastiti, Tadasana. Jump the feet wide apart or step. Remember to take enough distance between the 2 feet so your spine can indeed elongate. If you are using a chair, the chair would go to the right and probably the rest of the chair would be facing your right hand. Okay. Now find the indents, the hips are compact, the inner thighs are moving away from each other. It's Upavishta Konasana, there's width to the pubic plate. We were just there. Turn the right foot out from the root of the thigh. So again, now Supta 2, right? Is this not Supta 2? This right groin belongs on its side. This left groin belongs on its side. Now press the left foot down, take the right arm up a little bit. Keep the left hand on the hip. And now from the back heel pressing down, reach out. Aim to elongate the side walls of the trunk in this very first Uttita Trikonasana that you've been prepared for. Now keep the left hand on the hip. Now pause there, and I want you to have the memory of Viparita Karani. This is the key. Have the memory. Inhale. Feel the breath softening. Stay in the pose. Stay in the pose to the right. Breathe in. Feel how the skin and the muscles can get soft with the inhalation and the exhalation. Now put your left hand, Peggy, you can do this, right at the top of the left side of the chest. And sense the skin and the muscles moving away from the ceiling. Continue to revolve. When you have the softness in the muscles in the skin, you can revolve the chest away. And then finally extend the arm away from left arm. Peggy, just keep it on the hip. Both arms you can do it. I know that the left side is the one. Okay, so keep the hand on the hip. Right on. Okay, now inhale, up you come. All right, now we're going to change sides. Come back to Samastiti. Jump or step the feet wide apart. Go wide so that if you go too short, there's no way the spine can elongate. The chair can now be used on the left side. Turn the left leg out, groins on their own plane. All right, now from here, extend the left arm out a little bit higher. So it's a little slightly higher than shoulder width. Press into the right foot and slowly get length to this underbelly of the left side. Reach out, keep the legs straight as you're coming into the pose, right hand on hip, and now assess the feeling of the skin on the right side. So again, no weight bearing. Yeah, bring the hand down to the shin, bring the hand down to the shin at this point. Left hand, right hand is on the top right side of the body, and see if you can soften the skin and the muscles so that the top right side of your body is moving away from the ceiling. Continue to turn the trunk from the left to the right. And then when you feel you've softened, when you feel that you've turned maximum, extend the right arm, make an extension of the bottom arm. Keep the legs straight, legs straight, legs straight. Groins on their respective planes. Okay, now inhale, up you come. All right, let's repeat it. We won't stay as long, because I know on the first right side we stayed about a minute. I would say, let's do right side, left side, and stay for about 30 seconds. But again, I want you to focus with the hand on the hip. With the hand on the hip, soften the skin and the muscles, turn, use that to turn. And then have that memory of the trunk and Viparita Karani. And then go to the final pose where the arms are reaching away from each other. Winnie, I think that you on the right side, but I also think on the left side, the rib cage was at a diagonal. See if you can get your right hand. It might be helpful to put your hand on a block close to your heel and work with it that way. Sometimes it helps. Okay, so now when you're ready, to the right. That's it, Rahel. Stay there. Take it to the right, everybody. To the right. We'll stay for about 30 seconds. If you need to do it on a diagonal, that's fine. You need to have the back left heel at the wall, that's fine. Good, Val. Legs are straight. Now again, pause there. Use the hand on the hip for two things: to soften the skin and the muscles and to turn. Have the memory of Viparita Karani. And then when you've turned to the max, yeah, Winnie, I see if you can drop the right side of your rib cage so it's running parallel, yeah, to the floor. And then reach up. Reach up with the top arm. So the right hand is lightly onto the shin or to a block. Peggy, you could also have used it if it's on the thigh, you can put it on the chair too. That's another possibility, just having your hand on the chair. And now inhale, up you come. Okay, and to the left. Although just putting your hand to the shin should not be weight bearing or even stretch it. Okay, to the left side when you're ready, turning the left leg out. Right foot turns in, raise the left arm up, and use this to get length in your left side of your body. Touch down lightly. Aim to get the side walls of your chest parallel. Good, Gail, good. Now move the chin away from the sternum additionally. Head back. It's not an easy pose. You'll keep go good. To get the side walls of the chest parallel. That means that this area has to be rather soft. Rather soft. Okay, now inhale, up you come. All right, now we're doing Virabhadrasana 2. And I think today, because we alluded to this about the touchstones in meditation, you can use your hands to descend the root of the thigh down. So watch. Taking a wide stance again so that the inner groins can open. And then I think we'll do with movement. Place pronated right palm, and I'm using the hand to or in service of descending the thigh. All the while the foot is underneath the knee and the inner knee is moving to the outer knee, and my trunk is absolutely upright, not this or not some aberration thereof. Okay, so that means you have to go wide. The metrics of this pose are that the inner thighs are reaching away from each other, but the trunk is perpendicular as it was in Baddha Konasana and Upavishta Konasana. Hence why they go frickin' frack. Take the legs apart. Put your right hand on the root of the thigh, just like I showed. Right hand on the root of the thigh, and now go down. It will help you descend the right thigh. When you're pronate, yes, yeah, go down. Do a few times, go down. Hand on the root of the thigh. Winnie, the trunk facing me, trunk facing me. Yeah, if the groin is tight, you can see. So some of you you're doing the leg shape, but your trunk, right? The trunk, the right side of your rib cage should be in line with the right hip, not facing away. Go down. Have the hand on the root of the thigh. See if it helps you articulate, Gail, that right shoulder directly in line. Go down a few times. It should be getting a little bit easier. Then turning the inner knee to the outer knee. Peggy, you can just keep the hands on the hips. Everyone else extend the arms. Extend the arms. How good. Legs are straight, especially look, the left leg is straight. Right leg is bent. Good, Yokiko. And inhale, up you come. Good. So see if the movement helps you descend the root of the thigh so it's parallel to the ceiling. All right, left side, take the legs wide apart. Keep the trunk perpendicular and then descend the root of the left thigh. Go down a few times with movement. Sit down, turning the inner knee to the outer knee, but the trunk is facing forward. Well, that's it. So when you bend the left leg, Gail, try not to bend the right. Bend the left. Keep the right leg absolutely straight. Do a few times. Good, Julia, in that manner. Janet, I see what you're doing, and if it helps, it helps. As long as you don't take the trunk with you. I know I've taught it that way. Descend. We're aiming to get the thigh parallel to the ceiling. And then once you've descended as far as you can go, outstretch the arms. But now find the middle. Remember what we talked about in the meditation? Can you find the median line of your spine? Keep the left armpit in line with the hip. Many of you have let the left shoulder go forward of the left hip. Okay, and then come back up. All right, now Uttita Vajrakanasana. You can, anyone who wants to work this pose on a diagonal, please do. So we're going to do this from Virabhadrasana 2. This time, we're taking our hand on the inside. And remember what I showed supine, where there was no gap between the side ribs and my inner thigh? So Peggy, you can just obviously keep the hand on the hip. Others of you can extend the arm alongside the ear in the final pose, all right? So first stage, hand will be on hip, right arm inside on the inner right thigh. Okay, go wide. Go wide. If you need to do at a diagonal for the hips, Lindsay, then take it at a diagonal. Turn the right leg out. Chest is facing me. And now Virabhadrasana 2 to the right. All right, now exhale. Take your right arm alongside on the inside. This will help you open up the groin. That's it. That's it. Good. Now left hand on the hip. Fill in the space. So I didn't even say people get a block, and sometimes that block is indiscriminate. Most of you don't need the block. Turn the chest in the same way we did in Supta 2. Turn the chest. Soften those muscles so you can turn. And then if there's no shoulder issue, extend the left arm alongside the ear. Fill in the space. Good, Yokiko, between your inner thigh. Beautiful, Julia. Okay, these look good. Interesting. This Uttita Vajrakanasana is considered a harder pose than Virabhadrasana 2, but the alignment's much better. Now come back to Warrior 2. Hit Warrior 2 for the strength of the thighs. Hit Warrior 2. Don't bypass it. Inhale, up you come. All right, left side. It's interesting because most of you, what I've observed today, that it was more challenging for you to get your chest in the middle in Virabhadrasana 2 than to get it at the angle of which it's at in Uttita Vajrakanasana. All right, so just note that. So we're coming into Uttita Vajrakanasana from the descension of the thigh, Virabhadrasana 2, then Uttita Vajrakanasana with hand on hip and turn, and then come back into Virabhadrasana 2. All right, here we go to the left. Descend the root of the thigh. Julia, Yokiko, these are really good. All right, now the chest is perpendicular. Now Uttita Vajrakanasana. Inject the left side of your body. If you need to put your hand there, that's fine. These are good. Close in the gap. Your knee should feel like what we did supine. The knee is in the armpit. Knee injection. Peggy, that's really good. And then revolve. Revolve. Soften and revolve. Lubna, head back. These are good. And then full pose if there's obviously no issue with the right shoulder. Otherwise, you're keeping the hand on the hip. Keep that back leg straight. Janet, that's good. Okay, these look really good. And now inhale, up you come. If you're getting tired, please do rest. If you're getting tired and you think, remember there's always to use the back leg at the wall. All right, now we're gonna do something that will help some of you. All right, so this is really more for the groin. It's a way of doing Utthita Vajrakanasana. We haven't done it in some time. I'll show it freestanding. I have to show front and back. So I'm taking the leg, it kind of starts like a Paj or a Punshanasana. I'm putting, you see it's that same shape, only the foot is on the chair. And then I'm going to start like this, but I want to show you from the back. All right, so this is what we're going to do. So it's like a back up Pajra Kunshanasana, those of you who know Pajra Kunshanasana. And then just like we did supine in that precursor of Ekahasta, I'm going to duck under. Note how when I duck under, my chest is coming forward, and now my hands are against the buttock, which allows me to be my buttock forward, groin forward. Now, if you should not be able to clasp, have no worries. Have a strap nearby, and you can use the belt. All right? You'll feel a big opening in your groin. All right, so right foot on the chair. Make sure you don't slip slide away. All right, facing me. Have your knee in line over your ankle. Okay, now first position, hand along on the chair, on the inside of the right leg. That's it, Val. Wait there. So it's like a more upright Utthita Vajrakanasana. Winnie, that's beautiful. Chin away from sternum. All right, now to duck under with strap or not, bring the chest forward, slide the right arm like threading through the needle, like you did supine, catch at the level, good Rahel, of the back waist. If you can't catch your wrists or your fingers, then use the strap. Let's see, okay, these are really good. So it's that, this is really good. So now the advantage of doing it this way is you literally, with your hands, good Marina, can bring the groin forward. The buttock is moving into the buttock and the groin goes forward. Change sides. It's also actually easier on the hips because you don't have the weight bearing of the trunk on the hips. So there's lots of reasons to do this. Go slowly, don't be, in a rush. Have the foot on the seat of the chair. First stage, hand alongside on the inner thigh. And then you'll duck under. But use the hands either with the strap or the clasping of the fingers or the wrists if you can. So you're now aiming, good Rahel, watch that side because you use the strap on this left side. Bring the buttock into the buttock. So the mantra is buttock forward. You can also do that supine. You know, it's what we did supine. Nancy, back up your right leg because the right foot is directly underneath your hip bone. And remember, it's an angular pose. Now that's really good. This should feel good. Remember, Rahel, to take enough of that hip so that you have enough strap. No weight on that left groin. Okay, these look good. Betsy, good. That's good action in the right shoulder, moving back. All right, now from here, let's do this. We'll come full circle. Peggy, you can do that supine. If anyone's tired, you can go back to that Ekahasta supine. We're going to do, we didn't do Prasarita Padottanasana, but we're going to come into Utthita Vajrakanasana from Prasarita Padottanasana. So let me just show this rather quickly. So it's the first stage. Hands, not weight bearing, they just simply touch, they're in line with my shoulders. I'm on fingertips, so the back is concave. Then I'll take an elongated position. Then I alert the right side of my waist, and I'm remembering it to keep the whole right side and the left side soft. And I walk around, and then I'm coming back to Utthita Vajrakanasana, this time from Prasarita Padottanasana, full pose. All right? So I have that memory. The trunk is being elongated. I turn to the right. You see that? I soften here. So put all the pieces together now as you take Prasarita Padottanasana, Utthita Vajrakanasana from Prasarita Padottanasana. All right. So this should feel very fluid now, this movement, because of all that we've done to get here. All right, first stage, you can show me in profile or forward, doesn't matter. Marina, just adjust the feet parallel, and then come forward. If you need the blocks, you would have them. Back concave. Trapeze, move the trapeze. Don't let the back body fall on the neck. All right, Suki, that's good. All right, now extend the arms slightly forward so that the trunks remain perpendicular. Again, so we didn't do dog pose, but this is not dog. It's a dog pose trunk and dog pose arms, but not the weight there. Keep the trunk. That's it. Legs perpendicular. Suki, take the weight a little bit back further into the heels. The buttocks are, that's it. Don't let the buttocks come forward. Okay, now have the presence of mind that as you turn the right foot out, and keep going good, as you turn the right foot out, soften the right side of the rib cage, soften it. Place the right hand on the inside of the right foot. That's it. Now close in the gap. Val, that's good. But don't let your inner left thigh sink to the floor. Inner left thigh moving that way. That's it, beautiful. Reach, full pose. You have a shoulder issue, then of course, put your hand on the hip. All right, and inhale, up you come. All right, I should have taken you back through Prasarita. That's okay. Come back. We're doing Prasarita Padottanasana first stage again. Wait there. Use this to get length of the side ribs. Then keep the legs perpendicular. Reach out, get length. But as much length you get, soften. And now alert the left side of your body. That's it, Marina. Turn the left foot out, soften the left side. So you're moving fluidly to the left. Have the left hand on the inside of your left foot and then full pose. You can put the right hand initially onto the hip, revolve the chest away. Way to go. This is good. Janet, the left foot is a little forward of the knee. Watch that. Keep that right leg good, Lana, straight. Right leg is straight. Don't let the inner, Val, good. You lifted the inner chip of your right knee away from the floor. Yeah, not that. Okay, and now come back through Prasarita, the way I should have had you do it the first time. Wait there. Now take a well-deserved rest in the end stage of Prasarita to Padottanasana, which you know is head down. Go down. Walk back. You can hold your ankles, or the classic way, of course, is the hands underneath the in line with the heels and the shoulders lifting. Hands are apart. You need to hold the back of the ankles, that's fine. Astagopasana. Good. Take a rest after doing all these standing poses. The head down will feel good unless you're not doing head down. All right, now press the feet and inhale, up you come. Okay, so that was the standing pose segment. Now we're coming back on the floor. Then we'll revisit the supine ekahasta, because I know some of you are not able to do an arm balance, and that's not a problem. All right, so this time let's keep the left leg straight, right leg bent, left leg straight, because we were here before, now we're here. And when we come to do the arm balance, many of you can go back to what we're doing now. So you're supine. Left leg is straight, bend the right leg. Sole of foot parallel, shin perpendicular, inject knee into armpit, and let there be no gap between the side walls of the chest and your inner thigh. Pump, pump, pump. Pump, pump, pump. And then you can thread that right arm through on the inside and hook on the outside. Feel the abdomen drawing back toward the front of the spine, abdominal, right? Because the thigh is close to the chest. The right thigh is close to the chest, so there's an abdominal action, Kunchanasana action of the abdomen moving back to the spine. Okay, now for symmetry, take Dvipada, and then we'll do the Ekapada on the left side, the pumping and then the threading through. Pump, pump, and then left arm comes through. That's it, so yeah. Fine to do that, just make sure that there's no space between the inner, the right, the left side and the side walls. Okay. And now let's do this just as before we do Ekahasta with the blocks or not. Let's do this just to come kind of full circle. So if you remember, we did Ardha Siddhasana earlier on. where I asked you to be on the top of your metatarsal, okay? So in this case, the right foot, the heel is right in front of the perineum. So we're going to come back to this shape. We'll take the left heel in, and the right leg, instead of being marginally out to the side, let it be very far out to the side, more like the Supta Padangusthasana 2 position. So an Ardha Siddhasana left leg and an Upavishta Konasana right leg, okay? So this is the leg position and then some. And then what we're going to do, like Trikonasana, you will hold the right big toe with your index finger and thumb, again, not weight bearing. And you're going to bring the left hand on your hip. And then remember what we talked about in Viparita Karani, Trikonasana, and Chitta Pajrakonasana. I want you to soften the skin and the intercostal muscles so that eventually at some point, the right side of your rib cage is in contact with your right thigh. So this is the first stage of a pose called Pavrikta Janu Shirshasana. Right arm is straight. Adjust now in this stage so that the left side of your rib cage is not poking out. So I remember when Abhijata taught this at some point when we were there, the rib cage, it should feel like you're packing in, like you're packing a valise. You pack the rib cage from the top side, pack it in and zip it up. Pack it in and zip it up. So this is the very first stage where the trunk is more upright. All right, now change sides. Take your right leg into Ardha Siddhasana. See how we've come full circle. So we're back to Ardha Siddhasana. We're back to Upavishta Konasana. All right, that's it, Marina. Feel that elongation of the shin. You can really enjoy that now. Also sense that your right knee is moving away from your left foot. Remember, I alluded to the space in the pubic plate should feel rather broad. Just this time with this side, just take the arms up, unless you can't, and then hold the big toe. Arm is straight. Move the inner right knee away from your left foot. Remember to soften now the right side, but also the left. But see how, again, I want you to pack it in, and zip it up. Pack it in, soften the skin and the muscles, and zip it up. Okay, and then come back to the first side. Let's take the next step. Have a blanket nearby. So we spoke about this adjacency between the side walls of the chest and the inner thigh, so that if your right side of your rib cage doesn't come down onto your right leg, you can employ the blanket. So I like to trifold the blanket in that manner. And this is a challenging pose for many people. So just watch. The leg position is such that it's an Ardha Siddhasana left leg, an Upavishta Konasana right leg. And then I might consider placing this blanket on the root of my thigh. So obviously the height of the blanket helps my chest be closer to my leg. And then watch, I've come back to the first stage, packing it in, zipping it up. And then I, like Utthita Pajrakonasana, lean in. I'm aiming to get my entire right side of my body. If you don't need the blanket, which some people don't, then you can take the blanket out and do it without. And then you're going to turn your chest away from the floor. Parivrtta Janu Shirshasana to the left, to the right rather. Then your left leg into Ardha Siddhasana. Take your right leg into Upavishta Konasana. Come back to that first stage, holding the big toe. And so see, this is really important. You do this first stage of Parivrtta Janu Shirshasana. You can face me now so you can see it. It's Trikonasana. What you're doing now is Trikonasana, only much harder because you don't have the legs underneath you to revolve the chest away from the floor. Okay, now good Yokiko. Lie down like you did in Utthita Pajrakonasana. Lie down, Valgood. Move the chin away from the sternum. The chin wants to collapse into the midline. Rahel, good. So we're taking this second stage. Yes, eventually the hands are holding the foot. This second stage where the chest is just on the thighs and the left hand is turning, using your left hand on your hip and revolve. This is second stage. Eventually we do hold the foot, but let's just go to this second stage. Let's see, that's good. Now, those of you who are, have the elbow close to the floor or even on the floor, use that as a fulcrum to press the floor down and turn some more. Turn some more. Move the inner left knee away from the right foot. Good. And now come back up. Well done. Marina, that's really good. Change sides. Right foot in Ardha Siddhasana. Move the knee away from the foot wide to get width across the pubic bone. First stage, pack it in, zip it up. Just cutting to the highlights so you can quickly remember it. And then inject the left side of your rib cage onto your inner left thigh. But you have to soften those muscles, which this sequence clearly helps to do that. If you need the blanket, then take it so that there's no gap between the left side good Rahel and your inner left thigh. And you might even find out that you need it on one side. That's a beautiful pose, Yukiko. And now revolve, revolve. Julia, let's see, revolve. Remember, this is for everyone. There's a tendency in this pose to bring the chin downward into the hollow of toward the sternum, toward the chest. Move the chin. So go to the left, go with the flow. Sometimes movement like this helps. What I'm just doing now, you could, not that this is a stage, but for some, this really helps. All right, so you're getting movement, especially if this side is stiffer. That's really good, Yukiko. And then, of course, the third and final stage is the arms hold the foot, and then you use the elbows moving away from each other to turn as the chest then faces the ceiling. So this, it's many different stages. Okay, now we're doing Ekahasta. So for those of you who are not weight bearing, or if you're tired, fine. Go back to what we did supine. Have 2 blocks. All right, so we're going to do Ekahasta. So just let me show this quickly. So here's the injection of knee into armpit. Then here's, remember, the ducking under. The leg is on my upper arm, not my shoulder. Then the blocks are beside my foot. I draw my abdomen back, just like I asked you to do a zillion times in Ekapada Pavanuttasana, and I press down and I go up. Okay? It's that easy. All right, here we go. So normally, if we had more time, maybe we will on Tuesday do this again. We'd spend much longer going over the first stages of the injection, the ducking under, and then the going up. But now we're combining it. All right, so pump the right knee into the armpit. Rahel, if you need the foot, remember the last time I taught this, I showed it this way, remember? For those of you with any hip issues, you can use the chair in this manner, and I'm keeping this leg bent, right? It makes it even easier. So it's that same shape of Ekahasta with the chair, all right? Otherwise, you can do supine, and those of you who are doing the final pose. So let's inject knee into armpit. Pump, pump, pump. Pump, pump, pump. Just what we did supine. Keep the top of the sacrum moving in. Now duck under. That means you have to lift the right leg up. Aim to get the right leg on the upper arm, not the shoulder. Now quickly, and I mean quickly, place the hands on the floor or use the blocks on the low side. Good, Julia. Draw your abdomen back and lift up. Your right heel should be off the floor. Good, Lana. All right, come down. We're not staying long. All right, other side. Well done. Lubna, see, take the blocks a little closer into the hips, I think. They look for some reason too far away, yeah. You can hook the thumbs, Lubna, yeah. Pump, pump, pump. One side, it's interesting, in Ekahasta, the tighter hip, which you probably found out supine is really gonna manifest now. Nancy and others, you can do Baddha Konasana again and Upavishta Konasana. That's a possibility as well. Something symmetrical. Knee, 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 and then duck under. So the leg is on the upper arm. Now quickly take the hands to the blocks on the low side. Have the blocks close to the hips. Press down. Yes, draw back your abdomen and rise up. Rise up. Okay, and down you come. All right, now I'll give you a choice. Do something symmetrical. Those of you who want to do dog pose, which will feel really good, do dog pose for symmetry. Otherwise, you can do Paschimottanasana. We worked on that last week. Come forward. You can use the bolster or dog pose. Those of you who are willing to bear weight, I would do dog pose. Yeah. Rahel, I think take the feet a little further back. Yeah. And now just toe in, heel out, so your abdomen, top of the sacrum can spread. Good. Well done. Nancy, that's good. Now, for those of you who might have found that, Marina, just take the feet a little further back. Some of you might have found I didn't prepare my arms for that arm balance enough. You could have done dog pose before it and then now after. Just different, different ways to sequence. Okay, and then when you're ready, walk the feet toward the hands or the hands toward the feet. And then I think we'll do this lower legs on the seat of the chair for Shavasana. And if you're not amenable to using the chair for Shavasana, Winnie, you'll do prone Shavasana, or you can have a bolster underneath your knees. Yeah, Milana, the pumping action can also help doing the same thing. I mean, you might find that, when you do an arm balance, you needed some arm preparation, not so much the shoulder blade preparation. Okay. So I'll give you some time to get situated in a comfortable, relaxed Shavasana of your choice. So there are many ways we can work with the inner groins. When we meet again on Tuesday, I'll have another lesson on the inner groins for you. If you have any, having the bolster on the tall side at the roots of the thighs and pressing it into the thighs as you traction your lower spine can also be helpful. So again, do what you need to do to cultivate that quality of presence. Feeling the body lying on the floor now, touchstones, median line of your body. Breath. Usually one of those methods is easier than the rest, and just choose the one that you have quality of easefulness, be it the breath, again, the median line of the body, the touchstones, the weight of the body on the earth. And moving toward presence. Have the intention now to be present. Awake to the nature of things, which is impermanence and arising and passing away. Know that this moment matters. How you spend your minutes is how you spend your hours, it's how you spend your days, it's how you spend your lives. So this moment matters. See if you can encourage what is wholesome versus what is suffering. And perhaps finally tapping into that feeling of vastness that you experienced in Supta Padangusthasana 2. Vastness in the body as the breath moves freely, vastness in the mind. And the reason why I say that is it's much easier to put down the small things when you can experience the vastness and the spaciousness of how things really are. Small things don't seem to matter as much. Easier to drop that which is not vast. When you see truth of things, which is truly impermanent and arising and passing away. Seeing clearly, you get to see the fragility of life and all of its uncertainties. It's easier not to cling so tight. Remind yourself throughout the day of that. So we have some time. Those of you, I'll give an option if you would prefer to transition yourself to a seated posture. That's fine. Spend the remaining time we have seated upright, or you can continue to rest on the floor. Those of you who have a regular practice of meditation might want to consider being upright, spending the remaining portion being upright. And if you need to, as you make the transition, to come back to those ways of feeling the body in service of being present, touchstones, the breath, gravitational pull, the median line. Start with that. And continue to be with that method until at some point the mind goes elsewhere. And at that point, remember to come back. It's actually, you've already remembered. You note that you've been away. And of course, that's the essence of mindfulness. So remembering the actual remembering to come back. And come back with a sense of kindness and gratitude. Kindness that you remember to come back. Gratitude that you're taking this time for yourself. And as we spoke of on Tuesday, perhaps shifting the perspective of gratitude, because we often think I'm grateful for something, but rather feeling the sensations of gratitude, of having gratitude in your body, what that feels like. Over and over. Keep coming back to this present moment. Just simply begin again. And those of you who are still in Shavasana, you can do a child's pose and then transition to an upright posture or just stay upright. And then when you're ready, you can allow your eyes to gently open and just take in the room slowly. You can turn your head, just taking in the room, the colors, what's in the room, just reorienting yourself.